So it's been a busy couple of days news-wise involving the Ontario Hockey League, and we have a couple more news items to talk about today. We've got some signings, news out of Sudbury when it comes to their new arena, and let's talk some World Juniors because it was just announced a few moments ago that Team Canada has named their head coach for the upcoming World Juniors Hockey Championship, and it's going to be Dave Cameron, the head coach of the Ottawa 67s. He's going to be in charge of the team for the upcoming tournament. It's actually the second time that he's going to be the head coach of Team Canada at the World Juniors. The last time was in 2022. And actually, that year, he had to replace Andre Tourigny, who was supposed to be the head coach that year. So, congratulations to Dave Cameron. And what's actually fun about this, too, is that he won't have to travel far because the World Juniors this year are being hosted in Ottawa. So, the Ottawa 67's head coach basically has to just go down the highway to the Canadian Tire Center, and that's where most of the games will be held when it comes to Team Canada, most likely. But still, it's exciting. I know we still have a long ways to go between now and Boxing Day, but this is when the planning starts. You figure out some of the players that you're considering to be in the lineup for that team, and that's going to be the next big item is to figure out who's all going to be invited and let the speculation begin. But Team Canada announcing today that Dave Cameron will be the head coach for the upcoming World Junior Championships. Also sticking with news involving Ottawa, this time we're going to talk about the Ottawa Senators because they've signed Mathew Andonovski of the Kitchener Rangers to his 3-year NHL entry-level contract. So big congratulations going out to the Rangers defenseman who had a really good season in Kitchener this past year. For Andonovski, he's more of a stay-at-home defenseman, and General Manager Steve Staios of the Ottawa Senators saying that they have seen a lot of growth since he was selected in the 2023 NHL entry draft. He was chosen in the 5th round, 140th overall. So, it just goes to show that even if you're a later pick in the NHL draft, there is still the chance of earning that contract and potentially playing in the National Hockey League. So for Andonovski, he appeared in 65 games this past season, 7 goals, 25 assists, good for 32 points. Now the question for Kitchener Ranger fans will be, does Andonovski return to Kitchener next season, or does he end up in Belleville or with the Ottawa Senators? Because he is 19, I do believe. I don't think he can go to Belleville next year. I should have looked into that before starting to record. But that's going to be a question. We'll have to wait and see if Andonovski returns and what's in store for this Kitchener Rangers team going forward. So congratulations to Andonovski. In another news item, controversial player Sawyer Boulton. He is signed with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, the American Hockey League. General Manager Danny Briere making the announcement yesterday. It is a 2-year AHL contract for Bolton. Of course, for Bolton, if you've been following along this season, he was suspended quite a few times. Some suspensions longer than others. I think for him, he does play on that line. And for him, that's the style of game he plays. He plays a physical game, intimidates the opponents, and it gets the job done. The London Knights, of course, last year winning the OHL championship, and the Lehigh Valley Phantoms liking what they see. Of course, his dad, Eric Boulton, played in the National Hockey League from 2000 to 2016, so he's quite familiar with the game. He's actually from Buffalo, New York. That's where he grew up. So not too far for him going to Lehigh Valley to play with the Phantoms. It's going to be interesting to see how his game translates from the OHL to the AHL. Personally, I don't think he's going to have much of a problem if he continues to play the physical style. He's got the size and he's got the confidence. So congratulations to Sawyer Boulton. I know there's probably going to be some fans that aren't too excited to see him signing a professional contract, but he's put in the time, he's put in the effort, and it's an area of the game that teams are still looking for. They still want those imposing players. And for Sawyer Boulton, he did play in 40 games last season. And he's not the biggest goal scorer, but still, when he's out on the ice, he makes his presence known. Another signing to touch on, Liam Arnsby of the North Bay Battalion. He signed with the Charlotte Checkers. So another AHL contract. Is a 2-year deal for him. Arnsby, originally selected in the 7th round by the Florida Panthers, And the Charlotte Checkers, they are affiliated with Florida, so still staying in that vein. There's that chance still that he could make his way to join the Panthers at some point in the future, but he'll be focusing his time on Charlotte. And for Liam Arnsby, a bit of a sandpaper kind of guy, almost kind of like Sawyer Boulton. He has that physical game. He had 93 penalty minutes last season, but he could still find the back of the net. 11 goals, 23 assists, 34 points in 60 games. I know Arnsby had that suspension in the first round of the playoffs, which carried over into the second round. So Arnsby, he's got the nose for the net. He's that physical type. He's not going to be pushed around, and we'll see how he'll do with the Charlotte Checkers going forward. And the last signing to touch on, it's another AHL contract. This one, a one-year deal for Ben Gaudreau, the goaltender for the Erie Otters. Of course, he's graduating this season. He was an overage last year. It was a tough season last season for Gaudreau. Traded from Sarnia to Erie because the Erie Otters, the goal last year was to make the playoffs. And when you have a goaltender like Gaudreau, he gave him a chance to win night in and night out. And he ended up with a record of 20-11-2, a 3.29 goals against average, and an .890 save percentage. So Gaudreau can get the job done. And it's going to be interesting to see how he can do with the Rockford Ice Hogs. That's who signed him to that AHL contract. And I think Gaudreau, he's got the talent, and obviously he's going to have to make his presence known with the depth chart of the Rockford Ice Hogs, who are, of course, the farm team of the Chicago Blackhawks. And the last news item to touch on, the Sudbury Arena. The new arena was announced earlier this year. Council voting in favor of it. And on July 9th, they're expected to decide on which company will get the contract to build the new $200 million facility. The timeline has also been updated. They want to start construction in March 2026, and the grand opening would then be May 2028. So the arena at this, as it's planned, should be ready to host the Sudbury Wolves starting in the 2028-29 OHL season. Obviously, it's still a few years away, but excitement is building with the Sudbury Wolves organization and their fan base because it feels like a long time coming that this team has been getting a new arena. We still don't have any renderings. I'm wondering if at the July 9th City Council meeting, we might get some images of what the new arena could look like. They haven't decided where on the property it'll be. Of course, it's going to be built across the street from the Sudbury Community Arena. They've started tearing down buildings on the property. They're still doing some negotiations with property owners on that location, which should be resolved before the end of the year, is my understanding. But still excitement building with the Sudbury Wolves is their new arena, oh so close to becoming a reality. And it's it's exciting, but at the same time, I love the atmosphere at the Sudbury Community Arena. It's an old barn built in 1950. Obviously, it needs a lot of work, and that's why they decided to do the new arena route. But I'm hoping to go to a couple of games in Sudbury before the arena is shut down and they move into the new home, because there's just something about going to a game in Sudbury on a Sudbury Saturday night, as it's well known for. So that's how I see it from the booth. If you have any thoughts that you want to share, put that down below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, as we're so close to 200 subscribers. So thank you very much to everyone who's clicked subscribe so far. And if you haven't clicked subscribe, that's okay too. It's great to see the activity continue to grow here on the channel. So until next time, we'll talk to you again soon.